Hey everyone, welcome back to BookShortz, the place where stories come to life in just a few minutes. Today we're diving into one of the most anticipated novels of the year, Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This isn't just a love story, it's a story about ambition, secrets, legacy, and what it really means to tell the truth. If you're a fan of gripping characters, emotional twists, and stories that linger long after the final page, you're in for a ride. But before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a powerful story breakdown from BookShortz. Now let's dive into a world where telling someone else's story might just help you discover your own. What if the truth you uncover is more tangled than fiction, and the person you least expected becomes the only one who understands you? In Emily Henry's Great Big Beautiful Life, you're not just reading a story, you're stepping into a world where ambition and heartbreak clash, where past and present dance a delicate waltz, and where every word carries the weight of a legacy long buried. This isn't your usual romance. This is a novel about storytelling itself and about the cost of chasing something truly unforgettable. Set against the slow golden haze of a Georgia summer, this book opens with a premise as irresistible as it is dangerous. Alice Scott is a rising journalist full of optimism, passion, and a hunger for meaning. She's not just writing to get published, she's writing to matter. She's been clawing her way up from internet listicles and late-night pitches for years, hoping to find that one story that will set her apart. And then it comes. Or rather, it calls. Margaret Ives is the kind of woman legends are made of. Once a tabloid darling, a glamorous socialite whose face could sell magazines, she vanished decades ago from the public eye. Whispers followed her into exile, about tragedy, about scandal, about something darker than either. No one knows the truth. No one has seen her in years. Until now. Out of the blue, Alice is invited to Little Crescent Island, a secluded and sun-drenched stretch of land off the Georgia coast. There, Margaret lives in isolation, and she has decided it's time to tell her story. But there's a catch. Alice isn't the only one summoned. Hayden Anderson is also there. A Pulitzer Prize-winning biographer, polished, methodical, older than Alice, and intimidating in his precision. Margaret has pitted them against each other. They'll each spend a month on the island. They'll each collect their own version of Margaret's story. And at the end of that month, only one will get the book deal. It sounds like a dream assignment, but nothing on Little Crescent Island is quite what it seems. The tension between Alice and Hayden crackles from the moment they meet. He sees her as inexperienced. She sees him as cold. But beneath the surface, something else brews. Respect, curiosity, a flicker of something more. Yet there's no time for distractions. Margaret has rules. No sharing notes. No discussing her stories with each other. No contact with the outside world. For 30 days, it's just the three of them and the ghosts that linger in the shadows. As Alice begins her interviews with Margaret, she's struck by the contradiction of the woman before her. Elegant, sharp, unapologetic Margaret is a master of her own myth. She tells Alice about her youth, about the early years of fame and love and betrayal. She offers glimpses into glittering parties and tragic secrets, but she's also withholding. She controls every conversation with a smile that conceals more than it reveals. And Alice can't help but wonder, is Margaret offering her the truth, or just another version of the lie she's been living? Meanwhile, Hayden peels back his own layers. At first, he's just the competition, but as the days stretch on and the island's isolation deepens, Alice starts to see the man behind the accolades. He's driven, yes, but also tired, wounded, chasing something too. Maybe not a story. Maybe redemption. Maybe closure. Slowly, a fragile alliance forms between them. They share quiet meals, tense silences, occasional sparks. But they never cross the line. Not yet. The island becomes its own kind of pressure cooker. The heat, the isolation, the constant second-guessing. Each day brings new chapters from Margaret's past, and each chapter complicates the others. Her story doesn't unfold neatly. It contradicts itself. It bleeds into myth. There are lovers who disappeared, fortunes lost, or stolen children mentioned, in whispers. Alice begins to feel like she's drowning in versions. What is truth when the person telling it is both the hero and the unreliable narrator? The deeper Alice goes, the more personal the story becomes. Margaret's life begins to echo Alice's own fears, the fear of obscurity, the hunger for validation, the loneliness of ambition. And Hayden's presence only sharpens the ache. Because, for all their differences, he understands her in ways no one else has. They both know what it means to carry stories inside them, stories that might never be told. Then comes the twist. One night, Alice stumbles across an old letter hidden in the guest house library. It's unsigned, but clearly written by Margaret, and it hints at a long-forgotten tragedy, something not mentioned in any interview, something that changes everything. Alice confronts Margaret, who laughs but doesn't deny it. She simply says, "If you want to write my story, you have to decide what kind of story it is." Hayden finds out too, and tensions explode. The professional rivalry turns personal. Both of them know now that Margaret is testing them not just as writers, but as people. Who will shape her legacy? Who will tell the version the world remembers? And what are they willing to sacrifice to be the one who does? The final week on the island becomes a quiet storm. Alice wrestles with her conscience. Does she expose the truth no matter the fallout, or does she respect the woman who finally opened her door? Hayden offers his own perspective. He's not here to win anymore, he says. He's here to understand. But Alice is no longer sure what winning even means. Is it about getting the book or telling the right story? In a quiet moment just before they leave, Margaret gives them both a gift, her final interview. No embellishment, no script, just raw, unfiltered memory. And what she says shakes Alice to the core. Because in that final hour, Margaret isn't a legend. She's just a woman. Flawed, grieving, trying to make sense of the life she lived and the ones she touched along the way. Back on the mainland, the decision must be made. The publisher wants drama. They want scandal. Alice has the juiciest angle, but she hesitates. She rereads her notes. She thinks about Hayden, about the woman behind the myth. And in the end, she writes the story not for the headlines, but for the heart. Great Big Beautiful Life isn't about who gets the book deal. It's about why we tell stories in the first place. To preserve, to protect, to understand, to forgive. Emily Henry gives us a sweeping tale filled with glamour and grit, with humor and heartbreak. She explores the fragile line between truth and fiction, between rivalry and love. Through Alice, Margaret, and Hayden, she shows us that the most powerful stories aren't the ones that shock. They're the ones that stay. And when the last page turns, you're left not just with answers, but with a question of your own. If someone wrote your story, what would they find? And more importantly, what would they miss? If you want to listen full audiobook for free,